No longer a gang member? Like you're no longer affiliated with any gang?
I just want to be legit. I want to build my own community. I want the buildings to be blue.
Quando Rondo is no longer a gang member. He has left that life behind, trying to go legit, build his own community, and live by his own rules, the kind where buildings can be blue, not bloodstained. But walking away from the gang life comes with serious consequences. Quando got jumped in federal prison, and it wasn't about money, disrespect, or even the King Vaughn situation. It happened because he crossed a line gang members never forgive. He walked away from the set. This is a man who went from being a certified Crip, rolling with the 60s, to publicly denouncing gang culture, converting to Islam, and calling out the gang lifestyle as a scam. That choice put him in the crosshairs suspiciously behind bars. But what really led to Quando getting violated in prison goes beyond leaving the Crips. It's a story of betrayal, murder, federal charges, and a harsh realization. The people he trusted to have his back were the same ones who set him up. To understand why this happened, we need to go back to August 19th, 2022. Quando was in Los Angeles working on music, moving around the city like any artist studio sessions, meetings, linking with people. But if you're from out of town and tied to street politics, there's an unspoken rule. You check in with the local gangs. It's about respect, safety, and survival. Quando, affiliated with the Rolling 60s, did exactly that. He linked with the homies, thought he was protected, and assumed checking in meant he could move freely. What he didn't realize was that this simple act put him in danger. Lil Durk, with deep connections in L.A., allegedly used that opportunity. Durk wasn't just another rapper from Chicago, had history, relationships with influential street figures like Brick Baby, and the kind of influence that could reach across state lines. And this goes back even further. On November 6, 2020, outside the Monaco Hookah Lounge in Atlanta, an altercation erupted between King Vaughn, Durk's close friend and artist in Quando Rondo's crew. Shots were fired. Vaughn was killed. Quando's friend, Lulu Tim, claimed self-defense, and legally, that held up. But on the streets, the law doesn't matter, only retaliation does. For nearly 2 years, Durk allegedly plotted revenge. And when Quando checked in with the Crips in L.A. in August 2022, that opportunity presented itself. The streets had already set the stage. Quando Rondo's story is a harsh lesson in trust, betrayal, and the brutal realities of gang life. On August 19, 2022, Quando checked in with the Rolling 60s Crips, following the unwritten rules of the street. Respect the set, check in with leadership, and show loyalty. He did everything right. Also, he thought. But what happened next revealed the darkest side of the gang world. Federal investigations and street rumors later suggested that someone connected to the Rolling 60s had leaked information about Quando's location to his enemies, specifically Lil Durk's people. They allegedly knew exactly where Quando would be, what car he was driving, and when he would be there. For someone living by the rules of gang loyalty, this was a betrayal that cut deeper than any bullet could. On that day in Beverly Hills, Quando and his cousin, Lou Pobriel named Savasa Robinson, pulled into a gas station. They were just trying to fuel up, nothing more. Then an SUV pulled up. Multiple shooters exited, professionally targeting their car. Lou P.O.B. was hit multiple times and tragically died at just 24 years old. Quando was also shot, but he survived. It wasn't just a shooting that affected him, it was a realization of how it had happened. The people he trusted, the people who were supposed to have his back, had allegedly sold him out. The very gang he was affiliated with, the Rolling 60s Crips, allegedly gave his enemies the information they needed to orchestrate an ambush. That moment was a turning point for Quando. He realized something fundamental about gang life. Loyalty was a lie. Brotherhood was conditional. Protection was transactional. People would sell you out in a heartbeat if it served their interests. His cousin's death was the ultimate proof of that cruel reality. Quando had done everything the right way, and yet the system he trusted almost cost him his life and already took the life of his family. After surviving the shooting, Quando started to reevaluate his life. He stopped claiming affiliation with the Rolling 60s, stopped making gang references in his music, and began speaking publicly about how the street life was a trap. He converted to Islam, started praying 5 times a day, and immerse himself in the Quran. This wasn't a superficial change for public approval. Quando was genuinely searching for peace, purpose, and a path away from violence to IN interviews and social media posts. He discussed how the gang life was pointless, how it inevitably led to death or prison, and how even those claiming to be brothers could betray you without hesitation. He wanted to leave the streets behind, but leaving a gang, especially one as large and organized as the Rolling 60s, is never easy. It is considered one of the worst offenses in gang culture, known as dropping your flag, and it carries severe consequences. Beatings, tests of loyalty, or even death. Quando knew the risks. He understood that by publicly denouncing the Crips and leaving gang life behind, he could become a target. But after surviving a near-deadly ambush and losing his cousin, he had nothing left to lose. He chose to take his chances as a civilian and pursue a life beyond the streets. However, even as he tried to turn over a new leaf, federal authorities were building a separate case against him. In December 2023, Quando was hit with federal charges of conspiracy to possess with intent to distribute marijuana and controlled substances. The charge carried severe potential sentencing. What made it particularly frustrating and tragic was that he wasn't actively involved in the drug operations. He wasn't selling, transporting, or managing drugs. The federal government charged him because he allegedly knew about it and didn't report it. This is how federal conspiracy charges work. You don't have to commit the crime yourself. Merely knowing about it and failing to intervene can make you liable in the eyes of the law. Quando found himself in a difficult position, trying to leave gang life, trying to change, trying to live by his newfound principles, yet still being punished for his associations. Despite the pressure, he refused to snitch. Even facing a potential 20-year sentence, he stayed silent, accepting responsibility for his actions and preparing to face the consequences. Ultimately, Quando and his legal team argued that his transformation, his commitment to Islam, and his efforts to leave the street life behind deserved consideration. When sentencing came, the judge gave him 2 years and 9 months, a fraction of the 20 years the feds initially sought. While some saw this as a partial victory, it was still a sobering reminder of how far-reaching the consequences of past associations can be. Yet Quando's challenges didn't end with sentencing. Federal prison mirrors the street in its own way. Gang politics don't disappear behind bars, they intensify. Inmates are confined to the same spaces, forced to interact, eat, and recreate with the same networks and rivalries they left behind. The Rolling 60s have a strong, organized presence in the federal system. Word spread quickly that Quando had left the gang, publicly denounced it, and called gang culture a scam. That kind of violation is never overlooked. Inside federal prison, Quando was beaten by members of his former gang. This attack was not about any past rivalries or previous street incidents. It was about loyalty, respect, and punishment for leaving. The message was clear. In gang culture, leaving is a betrayal that must be punished. Quando's attempt to live right, to escape the street life, came with its own form of violence and retribution. The irony is stark and almost tragic. Quando left the gang because he had been betrayed, because the system he trusted had tried to kill him. Yet even after surviving an assassination attempt, losing his cousin, converting to Islam, and serving time in federal prison for refusing to snitch, he still could not escape the consequences of leaving. The system, both on the streets and in prison, is designed to trap individuals no matter which path they take. Quando Rondo's story is a portrait of the complexities, contradictions, and dangers of gang life. It's about loyalty and betrayal, survival and transformation, faith and punishment. It's about the painful choices people have to make when trying to leave a world that doesn't forgive, doesn't forget, and doesn't allow second chances. What makes his story even more compelling is his personal transformation. Despite everything, Quando didn't allow himself to be hardened by the streets. He sought knowledge, faith, and a purpose beyond violence. He tried to show the world and his community that it's possible to step off a dangerous path, even when the consequences of doing so are severe. His journey serves as both a cautionary tale and an inspiration, a reminder that change is possible even in the most unforgiving environments, but that it often comes with pain, loss, and challenges that are almost unimaginable to outsiders. That in the end, Quando Rondo's life reflects the harsh realities of the street, the consequences of blind loyalty, and the heavy cost of survival. He survived a murder attempt, lost his cousin, faced federal prison, endured a beating in prison, and still sought to redefine his life. His story is about resilience, self-awareness, and the ongoing struggle to break free from cycles that have claimed so many lives before him. It's a story of awakening, of courage, and of the constant tension between the world he left behind and the life he hopes to build ahead. But here's what's wild about Quando Rondo's story. Despite everything, losing his cousin, getting shot, facing federal charges, and getting beat up in prisons, holding firm on his decision to leave that life behind. Sources close to him say he's serving his time with purpose. He's practicing Islam, reading and studying, and staying out of drama as much as possible in an environment where drama is everywhere. His focus on completing his sentence and being there for his kids. Quando went from facing 20 years to serving less than 3. He's already completed a significant portion of his time, and has a release date in sight. When he gets out, he's made it clear the streets are behind him. Some call that growth, some call it humility, and some say it's survival. Whatever you call it, Quando isn't the same person he was on August 19, 2022. Getting set up by his own gang, watching his cousin die, getting shot, and realizing the system was rigged changed him. And for him, it changed him for the better, even though he's paying a heavy price for that transformation. Think about his journey. He came from nothing in Savannah, Georgia, rose as a rapper, got caught in street politics, lost loved ones, survived an assassination attempt, faced federal charges, and got beaten in prison, and yet is still standing, still moving forward, still trying to be better. His story shows what happens when you realize the game is rigged. The gang that promised protection allegedly gave his location to his enemies. His cousin paid the ultimate price for that betrayal. And when he tried to leave the gang life, when he publicly called it a scam, he got punished for it because gangs don't want members to wake up. They need to make examples of those who walk away. But Quando took the punishment and kept moving. He served his federal time, stayed committed to self-improvement, and didn't let the streets define him. Losing his cousin, surviving being shot, and getting beaten in prison didn't break him. That takes a different kind of strength. This is one of the realest transformations in hip-hop right now. This isn't a publicity stunt, it's a man recognizing betrayal, rejecting the system that tried to destroy him, and changing his life despite the consequences. The gang culture he called a scam proved him right. Lil Durk's hitman allegedly got his location from the same Crips he checked in with. That's not loyalty, that's business. Quando recognized it and chose a new path. He didn't snitch, even when he could have reduced his sentence. He served 2 years and 9 months with integrity. The beating in prison only confirmed that leaving was a right decision. Real brotherhood protects its members. It doesn't set them up to die and punish them for leaving. Quando is expected to be released soon. When he gets out, all eyes will be on him. Will he stay civilian or return to old patterns? Considering what he's endured, it seems clear he's done with that life. He lost his cousin, almost lost his own life, and sacrificed years of freedom. At some point, the cost became too high, and for Quando, that moment came when he realized his own gang had sold him out. This is growth in real time. Not perfect, not easy, and not without consequences, but real. Quando went from a gang-affiliated rapper caught in deadly beef to a Muslim man serving federal time while leaving that world behind. The streets will test him. The gang already punished him, and enemies are still out there. But he chose a new path anyway, whether people respect it or not. His courage to walk away from everything he knew, even with the dangers, is undeniable. This is why Quando Rondo got beat in federal prison. Not for King Vaughn, not for Lil Durk, but for daring to leave gang life and call it what it is. He's still standing, still growing, and still becoming someone better than before. Real recognize real, and what he's doing right now